everyone, my name is Vida Koster, and I'm here to tell you about the course that I study, which is the MSc in Environment, Development and Politics. The way I've planned this webinar is, I'm first going to tell you about the course, so the course content and why I like it, and then I'm going to move on to talking about the wider department within which the course is taught, and I will tell you all about the exciting research we're doing, as well as all the opportunities and activities that students can get involved with. Okay, so first things first, what do I study? I study the MSc in Environment, Development and Politics. The reason I chose this course is because I've always had a really strong interest in development and sustainable development in particular, especially recently with all the talk of climate change and sustainability in the media. But I studied applied criminology and psychology as an undergraduate, so I didn't really have a degree to back up my job applications with if I was to go into sustainable development. So I was looking for various postgraduate courses that could help me get where I want to be, and this university stood out to me. What I find on this course is that everyone has a really different background, so don't worry if you didn't study politics as an undergraduate. We have people who studied English literature, who studied sports science, who studied law, so we're from all diverse backgrounds. What matters is that you do have some work or voluntary or some educational experience that you can link to this course when you're making an application. In terms of the course content, it is much broader than I had initially expected, which is fantastic because it gives you a really solid, in-depth understanding of development and poverty reduction and various development projects and programs that are currently going on in developing countries. So we look at things like what might be barriers to development, like lack of education, lack of health care provisions, especially lack of education for women. It could be corruption in governance, it could be climate change, it could be all sorts of different reasons, and we look at how we can help to mitigate them. There's also a really strong emphasis on empowering people, so rather than us going into a developing country and developing them, there's a real emphasis on empowering local communities and people to develop in a way that's meaningful to them and in a way that they want to develop. So there are three things in particular that I like about this course that I want to highlight in this video. The first one is that you really are taught by experts, and I'm not just saying that. For example, I have a lecturer who always says, when I was in this country and this refugee camp, and when I was working for this NGO and working on a development project, so he always links the course content to his experience, and that helps make it more real almost. It helps us apply what we're reading, which is theory and just concepts. It helps us apply it to the real world and see how things play out in the real world. The second thing is that the optional modules are quite wide ranging, so I don't think anyone studies the exact same degree because there are so many optional modules, not only in our department, which is the International Development Department, but also in the wider School of Government that we can choose from. So you can really tailor the degree to your interests, and you can really make sure that you're studying what you're most interested in. The third thing I really like are the assessments. I'm one of those people who really enjoy writing essays, and what I find on this course is that the assessments are quite applied and quite practical. So while we get an overall topic that we have to write on, we can really choose what direction to take the assessment in. For example, I'm currently writing a case study. One of my assessments is a case study, and we can choose a topic as long as it's on sustainable development. So we have a format, and there's sort of certain rules of academic writing that you have to follow, but you can really choose what you focus on. So again, there's that flexibility in the course that's embedded in the course to make sure that students really make the most of it and really study what they enjoy. Moving on to the department itself, my department is situated within the School of Government. At the moment, the International Development Department is only a postgraduate department, but from 2020 we will have some undergraduate courses in international relations and politics, and they will even have a year abroad. So if you've come across this video because you're interested in undergraduate study, then make sure to check that out on the university website. But I was just going to highlight some of the really interesting things about studying at this department that I thought you might find interesting as well. The first one is the research that's being done here, and that's one of the things that really attracted me to the university and to the department when I was looking for somewhere to do my postgraduate study. So the research is really current. We currently have 2 centers that I will highlight, which is the GSDRC Center, which stands for Governance, Social Development, Humanitarian, and Conflict Center. And this center is really most known for its research help desk, where the researchers who work for it produce about 100 research reports per year, and that's in response to questions by various international agencies and various governmental departments that might need for example, a summary of the most recent research on a particular topic. So they've worked with the UK Department for International Development, they've worked with the European Commission and the Australian government, so they really have some very influential clients, and they produce kind of rapid response research reports. If you're interested in any of their research, you can access over 350 of their reports online, and they have very varied topics. So they range from things like preventing forced marriage to studying corruption to studying, for example, the effectiveness of various refugee settlement approaches. So they really do study a range of topics to do with development. The next one is the Development Leadership Program, and they carry out research on the politics of development and how how leadership can really impact whether a development program is successful or not. And they study things like inclusive social development and the success of development projects. And the DLP was established in collaboration with Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. So again, a very influential international governmental department. Okay. Now, in terms of the various activities at the department, we have a lot of guest lectures and seminars, which I think is fantastic. So we recently had one on climate change and health, and that was really interesting, studying how climate change affects things like the incidence of disease, to the spread of malaria, to all sorts of different direct health impacts climate change could have. But we've also had talks on foreign aid and how we allocate foreign aid and other development-related issues. So it's really great to get researchers and academics who are experts in the field come and talk to us about what they're working on. You also have, as a student at the university, you also have the opportunity to, of course, join a lot of societies and sports teams, which I would encourage you to do because it's a wonderful way to meet friends. I'm currently the blog officer for the International Development Society, but if you don't want to join an academic society, that's fine too. There's, I'm pretty sure there's a Disney Society and all these other ones, so there's quite a lot for you to get involved with here. The last thing I wanted to say is that while I'm sure it's wonderful that we study a postgraduate course just because it's a fantastic experience and it's great to learn more about what we're passionate about. However, I'm sure we're all hoping to get a good career out of it afterwards. And what I find at this department is that there is a lot of support with finding a career and finding internships. So we have a dedicated internship officer, so that's actually at the wider College of Social Sciences level, but it's a dedicated person who helps us find internships, whether it's in the summer or throughout the year. We also have a lot of really good resources, like, for example, the CV checker, which uses AI, so artificial intelligence, to assess your CV and tell you whether you're using the right language and whether you're making the most of the limited space you have on your CV to highlight your skills and experience. And we have a lot of workshops that we have access to that we can attend to help us with things like learning how to go to an assessment center and perform well there when you're applying for a job, or practicing your interview skills perhaps, or there's quite a lot of support, and it's tailored specifically to those of us who study social sciences. All right, so that's pretty much it. That's all I have for you today. But if you have any questions, make sure to go on our website. There's a dedicated Ask Me page where you can talk directly to postgraduate students, and I'm one of them, so come and ask me a question. And of course, make sure you attend an open day or an applicant day and visit the university as well. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.